I'm Emma Carter. I'm 28 now, but for most of my life, I felt like a stranger in my own family. You know that feeling? When you walk into a room and the conversation dies? When your victories are met with silence, but your mistakes are broadcast like headlines? That was my childhood. And for the longest time, I thought I was just being sensitive, overreacting, as they always said. But then, I put up a hidden camera, and everything changed. Before I tell you what that camera captured, I want to ask you something. Have you ever been gaslit by the people closest to you? Have you ever felt like you were living in a different reality than everyone else around you? If so, you're not alone, because this is my story, and it might just sound a little too familiar. I grew up in a small town outside of Raleigh, North Carolina, a place where everybody knew everybody, and appearances were everything. My parents, Martha and Charles Carter, were respected in the community. Church every Sunday, matching sweaters for the Christmas photo, perfect smiles for the neighbors. But behind closed doors, things were different. Colder, sharper. I was the middle child. My older sister Lily was the golden one, valedictorian, class president, never once grounded. And then there was Noah, the youngest. Sweet, charming, effortlessly funny. He was the kind of kid teachers gave extra credit to just for being adorable. Me? I was the difficult one, the emotional one, the one who took things too personally. I remember once, when I was 12, I heard my mother laughing on the phone with a friend, saying, "Emma's crying again. God, that child needs a thicker skin." That stuck with me. Not the words exactly, but the feeling that my pain was inconvenient, that my emotions were embarrassing. And any time I brought up how I felt left out or mistreated, the answer was always the same. You're being dramatic. Don't make everything about you. Stop overreacting. I learned to bottle it up, to keep things inside, to smile when I wanted to scream. But the cracks started to show in college. That's when I finally got some distance and perspective. I was majoring in psychology, ironically enough. One of our assignments was on toxic family dynamics. As I read through the case studies, I felt like I was reading about my own life. Backhanded compliments, emotional manipulation, selective affection, and worst of all, gaslighting. It was like a light switched on. I started writing things down, keeping a journal, recording conversations on my phone, not to use against anyone, but to remind myself that I wasn't imagining things. Still, there was always doubt, because every time I tried to talk to them, it was the same story. "Emma, you're always so negative. Stop looking for problems where there aren't any. You're just jealous of Lily. Admit it." Eventually, I stopped trying. But it wasn't until my grandfather died that everything really started unraveling. Grandpa Joe was the only person in the family who ever made me feel seen. He remembered my birthday. He called me just to talk. He asked questions and listened to the answers. When he passed, I was devastated. The funeral was awful, not just because of the loss, but because of the coldness. My parents barely acknowledged me. Lily didn't even sit with me at the service. And afterward, when the lawyer read the will, there was a strange moment of silence when my name came up. Apparently, Grandpa had left me something separate, a letter, just for me. But no one gave it to me. They said, "Oh, maybe he forgot to finish it. Probably got lost. Don't overthink it, Emma." There it was again, the dismissal, the rewriting of truth. But this time, I wasn't going to let it go. Weeks passed, and I kept asking about the letter. Finally, one night when I visited home, I overheard something. Lily and my mom were in the kitchen. I was upstairs, but I heard Mom's voice, low and sharp. "She doesn't need to know what's in that letter. He wasn't in his right mind anyway." That sentence, it lit something in me. I knew then, without a shadow of a doubt, they were hiding it. And if they could hide that, what else had they done over the years? That's when I decided to get proof. Not to confront them, not yet, but to see. To finally know whether I was the crazy one, or if the crazy making was coming from them. I bought a small hidden camera, one that looked like a clock. I placed it in the living room before leaving for a weekend trip. I knew they'd be hosting a Sunday brunch while I was gone. I pretended to leave early, but doubled back and activated the camera with my phone. What I saw when I reviewed the footage broke my heart and confirmed everything I'd feared. The camera caught everything. It was a lazy Sunday afternoon. Sunlight poured through the windows, the smell of my mother's famous cinnamon rolls filled the air, and the laughter of my family echoed like a perfectly normal day. Until I heard my name. Lily poured herself coffee, turned to my mom, and said with a smirk, "So are we ever going to tell Emma about the letter?" Mom looked up, calm and cold. "No, and neither are you." "She's still digging," Lily laughed. "Still convinced there's a grand conspiracy." "That girl has always been dramatic," Mom said. "She'll get over it. She always does." Then Noah, my younger brother, joined in. He wasn't laughing, but he wasn't defending me either. He sat down, sighed, and said, "Why not just tell her? Let her read the letter and move on." My father, who'd been quiet until that moment, looked up from his newspaper and said, "Because your grandfather lost it near the end. He was confused. He didn't mean what he wrote." And that's when it hit me, like a punch to the chest. They had the letter. They read it. They made a group decision to keep it from me. But it got worse. Lily pulled out a folded piece of paper from her bag and waved it around like a party trick. "This little gem? You should see what he wrote. He actually called Emma the most honest soul in the family. Can you believe that?" My mom laughed. "She always was good at playing the victim." "And guess what else?" Lily continued, leaning forward. "He left her that lake house, not us. Her." Dead silence. Then Dad's voice, flat and firm. "And that's why she can never see this letter." I paused the video. I was shaking. It wasn't just betrayal. It was erasure. They were trying to rewrite Grandpa's last wishes, all because it didn't fit their narrative. Because for once, I wasn't the disappointment. I was the one he trusted, the one he valued, and they couldn't stand it. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't cry either. I just sat there, stunned by how calmly they had lied to my face, again and again, while congratulating themselves over brunch. The next morning, I made a copy of the footage, backed it up 3 different ways, and sent a message in the family group chat. "Hey, I'll be coming by this evening to pick up Grandpa's letter. I know you have it." They didn't reply, not for hours. And then, finally, Lily sent one line. "Emma, please don't do this." That's when I knew I had all the power. When I arrived, they were all waiting. Mom looked pale, Dad was stiff, and Lily wouldn't even meet my eyes. Noah looked like he wanted to disappear. I didn't sit down. I stood in the doorway, holding my phone. "I watched the video," I said. "I heard everything. The letter, the lake house, the lies." Mom tried to interrupt. "Emma, you have to understand." "No," I said. "You have to understand. This ends now." There was a beat of silence. Then, reluctantly, my father walked over to the cabinet, opened a drawer, and pulled out the letter. The real one. Folded. Yellowed slightly around the edges, with Grandpa's familiar handwriting on the front. To Emma. Only Emma. I took it with shaking hands, tucked it into my bag, and turned to leave. "You're blowing this out of proportion," Mom called after me. I stopped, turned, looked her dead in the eye. No, I've just been trained to think that's what I'm doing, but not anymore. And with that, I walked out. What was in the letter? It was beautiful. Grandpa wrote about how he saw my struggle growing up, how he noticed the way I was treated, the way I was always made to feel smaller, and how proud he was of me for never giving in. He said I reminded him of his own mother, strong, stubborn, full of heart. He called me his quiet warrior. He also wrote that the lake house was his safe place, and he wanted me to have it because he knew I'd understand the peace it brought him. I cried reading it, not because of the inheritance, but because someone finally saw me and told the truth. The fallout, of course, was messy. My parents called me selfish, said I was tearing the family apart, that Grandpa was senile and didn't know what he was doing in the end. But I had the footage, and more importantly, I had the truth. I moved into the lake house 2 months later. It's quiet here, peaceful. Sometimes I still hear their words echo in my head, but I remind myself, gaslighting only works if you forget who you are. I haven't spoken to them since, and honestly, that's the most healing thing of all. It's been over a year now, a year since I walked out of that house with Grandpa's letter in my bag and my dignity intact. A year of silence from my family, except for one last message from Lily, sent a few weeks after everything blew up. It simply said, "You could have handled it differently." I didn't respond, because that's what they never understood. For years, I did handle it differently. I kept quiet. I played along. I swallowed pain in favor of peace. And all it did was feed a system where truth was inconvenient and manipulation was normal. No more. Living in the lake house gave me time to breathe, to remember who I was, without all the noise. I turned the spare bedroom into a little writing space. I started journaling again, then blogging, then podcasting. And what I learned along the way is this: I'm not alone. So many people have reached out, strangers who saw my post online or listened to my story, who said the same thing. This happened to me too. I always thought I was just too sensitive. My family made me feel crazy too. We think family is supposed to be our safe space, but sometimes it's the source of our deepest wounds. That doesn't mean we're broken. It means we survived, and surviving takes strength, the kind of strength that hides behind quiet tears and forced smiles, the kind that's born when you're constantly told your feelings are invalid, and yet you keep feeling them anyway. Keep holding on to who you are, no matter how many times they try to erase you. I no longer crave their approval. I don't need them to believe me, because I believe me. And in the end, that's what matters. To anyone out there still questioning their reality, wondering if you're too sensitive or too emotional or just overreacting, please hear this. You are not imagining things. You are not overreacting. You are waking up. And that's powerful. If you're still in it, still stuck in the gaslight cycle, I know how terrifying it can be to pull away. But I promise you, peace exists outside the performance. It's not loud or dramatic. It's not like the movies. Sometimes it's just the sound of birds outside your window, or waking up and realizing your chest doesn't feel heavy anymore, or sipping your morning coffee without bracing for the next emotional blow. That's what healing feels like. And if I could leave you with one message, It's this: you don't owe anyone your silence just to keep their comfort. Your truth matters, even if no one claps for it, even if it shakes everything, especially if it sets you free.